welcome to Man of Steel Fan Gives Hope, the Facebook page on YouTube. I just want to start by saying, somebody said to us, this is why we not put up a video at the weekend. And I know a lot of people jump on as soon as the latest clickbait news comes out, or the so-called news or whatever comes out concerning DC, and they go and they make these 5-6 minute videos and stuff like that, and basically calling Bill Kish. I don't want to do that every time, because it'll be basically pointless, because it'll be just me coming on YouTube saying what you guys and girls should already know that is bullshit, really, you know. But what I tend to do when it comes to that stuff is put it on the Facebook page. So if you want an answer to all this rubbish news, check the page. This YouTube will be either answering any of your queries or just my thoughts of the day, mainly concerning the DC, EU and everything else related. Sometimes I make videos about something totally different. And so the guy came up to us and says, you know, I didn't see one that you made at the weekend, and honest, I had hay fever, eyes are watering, skin was rash, you know, I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I was like down on the bed, eyes watering, and, you know, and the last thing, I just collapsed on the couch. So occasionally, you know, I just turn on the Facebook page and find out what's happening, everything else. And I read one person's comment, and the person had said, you know, he misses the days where he could just look forward to a movie, to a superhero movie, and, you know, and not be bogged down by all these, how the film's getting made, what's behind the scenes, seeing a lot of clips and everything else. It's been very, you know, it was misses the days when you can just go to the cinema and be surprised that there's actually a film coming out of your hero, you know. And I can totally empathise with him. I totally get where he's coming from. And I sometimes think to myself, you know, was the worst thing I ever probably did was start Facebook. I'd be none the wiser, or YouTube, I'd be none the wiser of what people think, and I would be just in that idea that everybody, or most people, sort of see it the way I do. So that's, you know, because it is exhausting going on, and what I do on the page is look what all the latest Bill Kish that's out there, maybe ask some of my editors, see if they can get to the bottom of it, see if they can give you guys some hope out there, or even myself, and look through all the YouTube. And it is taxing on the brain, and it, you know, it gets you low. And I can see people's passion in the comments below. I can see how, you know, some people thank us, and you guys do give us hope, and we do take it, you know. I mean, I know there's a lot more important things in the world, and maybe we're all just daft to take this as serious as we do, but it's what we we have our own visions, we have our own thoughts of what the DCEU is. And close to the subject, somebody said to me on one of the comments that you know, Superman was meant to be for kids, and I can see maybe the point, maybe when it started, but then you look back to the George Reeves Superman and the Mole Men, and those stories where Superman is kind of like a thug, so to speak, back those days, you know, punch, he was a straight-faced, not much charm or whatever. Well, that's just my personal take on the early things on Superman, you know. And but that was rough. But that sort of time, you know, in those times, if you took what people thought about of him back then, put him into just now, you'll probably have something similar. It's only through people with censorship that has changed all these characters and and either put them down to something stupid, some sort of daft, who's doing the washing up today Wonder Woman and stuff like that. But then the 70s came, and I've said all this before on YouTube. The 70s came, and they changed that, and Green Arrow got the needle and the drugs, and that's what Speedy, and that's what for me DC stroke Warner Brothers has always been about. You look at the Bugs Bunny cartoons, the Daffy Duck cartoons, there's always been an element of adult in there. Family entertainment, there were jokes there for the kids and jokes there for the adults. Now Walt Disney, I'm not saying Walt Disney doesn't do it, there's a lot of websites on the page that shows you double entendres, but this is the Warner Brothers makeup. Now my first book was The Dark Knight Returns, Batman, and that really pulled me in more than any other book that I'd read before, and that got me collecting, because this was an eye-opener, and I must have been in my teens. I was in my young teens reading that, and I went, wow, I never thought of Batman this way, I never thought of Superman this way. That's why you got Man of Steel. When that came out, that I heard people in the audience says, I get this character now, wow, he's more than just the big blue Boy Scout. Now as we look at the comics on the shelves, we can see different comics for different kids, for different age groups. I mean, Green Arrow Long Bow Hunters has got a woman tied up and there's blood trickling down her bare chest. And you look at Batman's villains, Zaz, who marks his body after maybe raping or killing women. Mad Hatter, that's always been for me some sort of child molesting or whatever that he does. So there is, he kidnaps wee girls. Then you've got the Joker, and I'm just reading one just now in the book I showed you, the last one, He Who Laughs Last or something like that, Arkham Asylum, and it's showing you just him after the Red Hood and how he practices on innocent people of his drugs, of his, of the spray, and he kills so many people. And then you had the Barbara Gordon story, The Killing Joke. Now these are all stories, you could say in the 80s, the 70s, but you will always have these people that somehow are stuck in the past, that see the Christopher Reeves shot, and that's probably suited for those times. But all I can say is, yes, these films, the reason why this person made this comment was because it showed you Bruce Wayne and Batman v Superman and the different stages of walking up the path he was going. At the start, he was walking up the path to the graveyard. And it was a, corn everywhere or grass everywhere, and then he was walking up another. And you could see a wee better path, but at the very end, as he leaves Superman in the coffin, whatever, it's a clearer path. So they were saying about that and how deep those similarities were, and he says we shouldn't even be thinking about this. This should be a kids' film. It shouldn't really be a kids' film. I witnessed a lot of kids going to it. I took kids myself, and they loved it. They didn't grasp, of course, the heavy side of it, but the way I look at it is, in years to come, they'll look back on this and they'll watch it again and think, wow. And I too have explained these things, the adult. I've sat down and talked to these kids about it, and it opened their minds to what film making can be. And I think in these films you can have touch of everything. Look at, you look at Punisher. Shouldn't that be as a comic book character? Shouldn't that be something? Superman became so much unrelatable that he didn't. And even though we have tried to tell people out there that yes, he has sat down and he's cried because he was too powerful and that he should have saved people, but people don't get that. People have been so transfixed on the past that they don't see the inner struggle that Superman goes through, that he's not a happy chappy 24/7. And the most relatable stories I like about Superman is the grounded ones, not the out of the cosmos ones, but stuff that affect him as a human being, as Clark, and then struggling stories like the death of Clark Kent, when the villain is attacking his family because he knows who Clark Kent is. So he has to pretend he's dead because of the loved ones and stuff, and he's pushed to the brink. He's pushed to, and this is what people out there need to know, that yes, you can have Wolverine, you can have Batman with all these different layers, and it's their hero story of struggling through them. So DC for me is for everyone. It's to be enjoyed by everyone at all different ages. But let's not try to say because we have a transfixed idea of what it should be filmed or who should be playing Batman. I can still see some complaints saying get rid of Ben Affleck, get rid of Jared Leto and stuff. But here's the thing. I keep on seeing on Facebook and YouTube people dressing up in Harley Quinn costumes, young boys dressed up as a Joker, as Jared Leto's Joker. And recently on YouTube, when we look back at Comic-Con, we see the boy in tears with the, and we probably use that as a screensaver. And he was saying that to the DC, for me, he was saying that to the DC haters who could also be DC fans. This is Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is a lovely guy who's went through a hard time with this marriage and everything else. And a lot of us have been there. Robin Williams have been there. And he's struggling through it, and he's playing a character that he loves. And to play Batman, really, all you've got to do is master Bruce Wayne. And I think, personally, he mastered it. Anyone can be Batman. Look at Christian Bale. For me, he never really captured the Bruce Wayne thing. He never really got... Yes, he done okay in that brilliant scene in Batman Begins. When the house was burning around him, he stood transfixed. That, to me, was Bruce Wayne. But it's always been taking the mickey off it ever since when he done the Batman. But this is a guy who knows Batman. And we should just rejoice in these characters coming to life. And yeah, you say it's for kids. They were a wee girl in Wonder Woman outfit. That wee boy that you see in the image before. These are all kids who are worshipping the grounds that these actors are doing, because these actors are bringing their heroes to the screen. And as I say, in the likes of BVS, parents and everybody else who loved it will reintroduce the kids to it. It is becoming a cult classic, and you can check one of my notes on the BVS page. I'm just tired. I'm just tired of all the nonsense. And as I say, we see all the fans cheering, we see the girl in tears because of Wonder Woman. So these people are relating. So listen, if you're a hater of the actors, or you're a hater of where the films are going, let's not spoil it for everybody else, and let's just enjoy that we're having these films in our lifetime. And thanks to Zack Snyder and people involved. Look at the cinematography in the Justice League. Think how different it looks from the Avengers. Can we honestly say that the Avengers movie in the Marvel shows us some deep inner turmoil happening? No. But we can with Superman and BVS. We can see Superman in his inner turmoil. We can see Batman in his inner turmoil. And we are heading towards the dawn where everybody will be that much happier. And this BVS and this Justice League, we've been promised will enhance Superman's character. Anyone that loves Superman will love this. And it's because we took the journey. We took the journey to get there, and that to me is a cinematic history moment, because it wasn't just everybody's happy, everybody's accepting of everybody. Okay, it plays the race card, it plays the people that are homophobic. People don't gel with everybody straight away. It takes time, and people are unsure about themselves until they know who they are deep inside and what they should be doing. They don't just put on a cape and kill and go out to the door. Things either have to happen to them or some motivation to get there. Wonder Woman was raised that way. Bruce Wayne came from the darkest bit of society and rose above it. And Superman, given all these abilities, feeling alone, feeling different, now feel embraced by the world he thought hated him. And if that isn't some sort of moral compass that you believe is failing, and then I am sorry. There is no helping you whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, as I say, there are comics there for kids, there are comics there for adults. You could say, you know, it was invented for kids and everything else, but these kids tend to grow up. And when you go to these Forbidden Planet stores or comic stores or whatever, there is different age groups. And I can't see 55-year-old men reading something like The Dandy or Beano or I don't know what the American equivalent is, Mad, something, you know, wee comic strips you see in the newspapers, you know. But with these things, with the way comics are done today and written today, they can be enjoyed by, and it will surprise you how educated young ones can be through comics. And not everything has to be smooth sailing, you know. What DC done with Green Arrow and Green Lantern showed you the drugs, showed you prostitutes. It shows you the darkest side of life and what's out in the streets, and that's what made Green Lantern and Green Arrow comic series a success way back then. And people thrived to that. Kids wanted to buy those comics. Kids wanted to buy The Death of Superman, because it teaches them that people can die. There is so much in these comics with adult elements that we ourselves as adults or parents can't tell our kids about. So what can we use to teach the kids how the world can be? Comics. So yes, let's embrace DCU and let's embrace everything, even though you may not like it. It's not your cup of tea, it's not the vision there are comics there for you to see, there are movies there, there are Batman movies there, there's umpteen different Batman things. But let's just enjoy the different incarnations of our heroes, because we know if we look deep down inside of these incarnations as we watch them, we can see the character that we do love. I hope this has helped anybody. I just hope DC fans out there, maybe you watch this, maybe you hate me because I've said this, or maybe it's just that I'm tired of defending something that shouldn't need to be defended, especially against any other DC fan. So please come to the page, come to Man of Steel Fan Guide Shop, and please leave out any negative comments, because you will be banned from the page. And let's be positive out there, okay? And let's look at these kids that went to see these heroes, and let's see it through their eyes and not through adult eyes, okay? Because as I say, we had that Star Wars thing when we went to see episode 1, 2 and 3. I took kids to see that, they loved it. Adults, we've became too stuck in the past. But the kids, they see it for what it really is. Sheer entertainment, and they don't care what happened before. And they have got no preconception ideas of what they want to see. They just want to go and see a movie and enjoy it. And sadly, these comic biased pages and stuff like that come on the YouTube channels, or people like Campia, who's just recently came on and said, oh, why would Justice League not be as loved as Wonder Woman was, and yada yada. And they're all just using that stuff for, and yes, I've commented on them. Henry Cavill thing with the moustache, he came out and he tweeted it, it's not a big deal, it's pennies and stuff. Why? So I'm sorry if I've not covered anything that you might want to be argued against, for me to argue against. It's just rubbish. It's not worth our time. So find the page that you love. Find a page that you know that is going to give you some good vibes. I'm not just talking about my page, it can be any page. And just click and just stay with them. Okay, make sure you haven't signed up to Comic Book. And let's leave ourselves mostly in the dark. Let's leave it to numpties, idiots like me, that does the research for you, and just let you hear the good stuff that's out there. Okay, yeah, of course it'll be biased, but listen, it's better reading than good than bad, and what I'm giving to you probably won't be the truth because it's not coming from Warner Brothers. Okay, it's not coming from Warner Brothers, and that's the only truth you've got to read, is when it comes from somebody officially there, actor or director, or somebody from Warner Brothers. Any other news, variety, or anything like that, don't bother here. Let's just turn off the Facebook page, turn off this YouTube channel, and let's just wait and look forward to the films like we used to do. Thank you very much.